motion and a second to approve the agenda as printed. Any further discussion, comments, or questions? There being none, Sherry, roll call vote, please.
Solosik,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes. Item 5 on our agenda this morning is we have several years of service awards. 10 years of service for Tamara Krog, an administrative assistant at our conservation department. 10 years for Armando Estrada, truck driver 3 for secondary roads. 10 years for Peter Hunsel, truck driver 3 secondary roads. And 5 years for Joseph McMillan, deputy sheriff at the sheriff's office. I'd like to congratulate all these individuals for their years of service and thank them. Hopefully continue many more. Item 6 on our agenda this morning is the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes of regular session of May 10th, 2022 and special session May 13th, 2022. Approve the claims as audited and authorize the county auditor and recorder to issue payment of the same. The listing of claims paid at this meeting and all claims paid in the current month will be published as part of the first meeting the following month. We do have some manure management plans this morning to approve. Matthew Bird Farm, ID number 59927 at 1310 Taylor Avenue, no changes made. MMT Farms, ID number ID number 61010 at 3016 Marsh Avenue, Haverhill, no changes made. Jared Whitaker, ID number 70163 at 180th Street Clements, no changes made. And Justin Whitaker, ID number 66798 at 1775 Binford Avenue State Center, no changes made. File clerk of district court report for April 22, 2022, general supplemental fund surcharge of $767.08. And that is the end of the consent agenda. Entertain motions on this item, please.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the consent agenda as printed. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as printed. Any further discussion, questions, or comments? There being none, roll call vote, please, Sherry.
Solosik,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7, we are going to be tabling this morning, which was an approval for a 2080 agreement. We're not quite ready to work on this. We have some other things that we need to take care of, so we're going to move right on to item number 8. This is what we do annually. This is to approve extensions to law enforcement 2080 agreements through June 30th, 2023 for the following cities in the amounts listing pending the return of contracts. The city of Albion, $13,100. The city of Clemens, $3,875. The city of Ferguson, $3,187.50. The city of Haverhill, $4,175. The city of Laurel, $7,175. The city of LeGrand, $25,175. The city of Liscombe, $7,175. The city of Gilman, $13,350. The city of Rhodes, $10,050. And the city of St. Anthony for $22,487.50. I'll entertain motions on the extensions of these law enforcement agreements.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the extensions to law enforcement 2080 agreements through June 30th of 2023. The following cities that were just named.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve these. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
These are the cities that our sheriff's department covers during the year. It's done by the number of people that are in those communities. Is that
It's paid by the number of water services in the community and also by liquor licenses. And these are fees that these communities pay the sheriff's department for our patrol division to not only patrol these communities, but also go to the meetings of the respective city councils and give any reports that need to be given on a monthly basis or as needed. Any other questions or comments or concerns?
No.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. There being none, Sherry, roll call vote, please.
Slosson,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes. Item number 9 this morning is to adopt resolution 2022-0019 to terminate the community development block grant funding for the Green Mountain Sanitary Installation Project. Bill, would you like to bring us up to speed on this, because this has been something that has had some considerable confusion.
This is trying, I tell you. 2 years ago, almost today, I met with rural water contractors, and they were ready to go and start pushing dirt. Then we had a change of the USDA and the state of Iowa, the person who was the head of the USDA, and the USDA and the state of Iowa, then through this one gentleman, started asking for things that needed to be supplied by rural Iowa, the rural water thing, and he kept saying no and telling the rural water that what they were doing was not right. What it amounted to was rural water owned all of their own equipment, and he was saying that they had to rent it, period. And I think that rural water probably ran somewhere between 5 and 7 different applications to try and help this gentleman understand what's going on. And what has happened then is we have run out of time with the grant that we had applied for and received. Now, this grant that we applied for will actually lower the amount of money that the people in Green Mountain will have to pay in their sewer bills. And so this is an important thing as far as we're concerned. And it's ridiculous. I'm upset. Dave's upset. Steve's upset. And what we're going to have to do is rescind the grant that we have already applied for several years ago, and then redo it. And when we get ready to redo this thing, quite honestly, if we still have the same problems with the USDA in the state of Iowa, then I think the governor needs to become involved. I think our national legislators need to become involved. And I think that since Bill Sack is Secretary of Agriculture and from Iowa, he needs to be involved. I'm upset about this. It's not right, and it's not fair to the community that we're trying to help. But today we're going to have to terminate this, and I just want the community up there to realize we're not backing out on this thing. This is just something we have to work with here for just a little while. Did I miss anything, Dave?
No, you hit it right on the head. In the 12 years that I have served in public office, this is literally the most ridiculous thing I've ever dealt with. We have an individual at the USDA that has literally said, I don't care if rural water owns their own equipment, they need to go out and rent equipment to be able to do this project. That would be tantamount to somebody owning their own vehicle at home and renting a vehicle to be able to go to work on a daily basis. It makes absolutely no sense. This is literally beyond the pale of a government bureaucrat with the United States government, and we're going to work hard to reapply for this through Region 6 with Marty Wymore and see if we can get this taken care of. And hopefully common sense will prevail and we'll get back on track.
Yeah, the rural water people have been very excellent to work with.
Yep.
If we call them, they answer the phone. If we have a question, they answer the question. And it's not the problem is not on their end. And we thought we were done with our part on it 2 years ago.
Exactly.
And here we are now, starting over.
We did cover this at our Region 6 meeting yesterday. We expressed the same frustrations and comments. We do have Marty Wymore from Region 6 on with us this morning. Marty, did we pretty much give you an accurate synopsis of what happened here? And do you need to add anything?
Yeah, I guess you covered things well there with where things stand as far as dates to proceed forward with the CDBG application that's been terminated here with your action today. You could potentially reapply July 1st of 22, or the next date after that would be October 1st. I've indicated to Iowa Regional Utilities Association, I'm not willing to, I guess, proceed with the July 1st application if we don't have a response from USDA Rural Development here by June 1st, that they have sort of signed off on everything with the project. Again, if they're going to take their time, I guess, reviewing things, then we're going to have to delay until the October 1st submission timeline. I guess with all these projects, there's 3 years to complete the project, so we don't want to go down the same path again. So that's my position on the timeline with the project.
I mean, this is extremely frustrating. You and I have been working on this for 12 years. And for a bureaucrat to have done this is absolutely beyond the pale.
Yeah, it's frustrating. So yeah, we all want to get to the finish line. So
Now, you indicated that October would be the time for this thing to happen. I'm not happy with that. I want to get this thing going as soon as we can and perhaps get some dirt moved this year yet.
It's not feasible even with the July 1st timeline to move any dirt this year. And again, I guess we just need to see what USDA Rural Development is willing to do. Obviously, in a week here, they could potentially, move this forward, and we can do all the additional steps that are needed in roughly 30 days. There's a lot of additional steps needed to reapply. It's not as just simple as signing a form. So there's quite a few additional steps needed.
Okay. Well, thank you for your comments and your persistence in this matter. This is extremely important to the people in the community of Green Mountain, and they've waited way long enough on this. And we need to get this done.
Okay, thank you very much.
We'll entertain motions on the termination of this resolution 2022-0019.
Well, I don't want to, but I'll move to adopt resolution 2022-0019 to terminate the community development grant, block grant funding for the Green Mountain Sanitary Sewer Installation Project.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. I think we've all expressed our indignation here to adopt resolution 2022-0019, terminate the community development block grant funding for the Green Mountain Sanitary Sewer Installation Project. Does anybody have any further questions, comments, or concerns? There being none, Sherry, roll call vote, please.
Slosik,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes. Item number 10 on our agenda this morning is Title 6, Non-Discrimination Agreement. Dan, you want to cover this, please?
Yes, we were contacted, me being myself and Paul Geilenfeld, and I don't know if Paul's online as well, but by Mr. Stephen Kerber. He's with the Iowa DOT, and the Title 6 is something we just need to have in place. The former person that was our officer for Marshall County was Don Williams. So you can give a little guess to how old this is.
We haven't updated this for a while.
We haven't updated this for a while. This will be now added to kind of our, every first meeting in January, we talk about some of this. This is going to be added of updating this each January 1st, so that it's just kind of on our cycle now.
Because we do approve that with our own non-discrimination.
Yeah, so we
First meeting.
kind of do it, but this is just kind of that extra step. And so Paul and I went through, he filled out the paperwork. Paul was the officer, or myself, and this impacts a lot of grants that are, of course, for secondary roads. However, also the attorney's office, Kim uses that, so it made more sense to continue having the auditor recorder be the officer.
So we're basically just upgrading to some of today's language.
So, and getting the right person, somebody that's actually employed here being. It seems like a thing. So the gentleman has been very helpful. We dot our i's and cross all our t's tomorrow with him. He's going to be coming on site, and so he wanted this in place for our meeting tomorrow.
Okay. I'll entertain motions on this non-discrimination agreement, please.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the Title VI non-discrimination agreement and authorize the chair to sign.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Title VI non-discrimination agreement and authorize chairman to sign. Any further discussion, questions, or concerns? There being none, Sherry, roll call vote, please.
Solosik,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 11 on our agenda this morning is to approve business associate agreement with Springbuck Incorporated, a service provider for Northwest Partners relating to HIPAA matters concerning the county's self-funded health plan, and authorize the chairman to sign. Dan, you're still on deck. Would
I'm
you bring us up
still
to
on
speed?
deck. So this is just a new reporting analytics platform that we're going to be using, but we need to have an agreement with the company to make that all work. And so we got the information from Skip Lowe. Basically kind of a DocuSign type contract that they'll be executing for you to approve, but it's just a new vendor along with our retiree HRA account or our Viva account task to let that all happen. But we've got to have the I's dotted and T's crossed for us to be able to utilize their system.
Okay, anything else? I'll entertain motions on this item, please.
Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve the business associate agreement with Springbuck Incorporated, a service provider for Northwest Partners relating to HIPAA. There's concerning the county's self-funded health plan, and authorize the chair to sign.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the business associate agreement with Springbrook. Any further questions, comments, or concerns? There being none, Sherry, roll call vote, please.
Solosik,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes, motion carries. Kim, item 12 is Marshall County Hazard Mitigation Grant application for the Siren project. Do you briefly have anything to add to what we've already gone over?
I love how you have briefly every time, but you know how things move constantly, just like you were talking about with the other grant. Not that bad, but I did get an email the next day after we discussed our options, and it went to the 90-10, which we thought it might, 90% federal, 10% state, so 0% county. Which sounds exciting because we don't have anything to pay, but it also brings our total available down because everybody else's across the board retroactively went to 90-10. So what we're looking at right now, and I can email you these numbers, $379,000 instead of the 400 and is that in front of me. Just a second.
460,
I think it was.
might have been 465,
429.
429.
So instead of 429, it's 379,000 would be our total. And so that would be about half of our whole project. So my suggestion is obviously go for the 90-10 because that gives us a 0 at the county and city level right now. Accept this grant, do half the project, and I'll explain that here in just a minute, and then resubmit the second half as a phase 2.
Yep.
And it's very similar to what we talked about last time. It's just doing in 2 phases. So instead of doing 2 projects, because we would have had to do another project with some of our local funds, it would be resubmitting. So there may be some timeline in between that we don't have some of the other sirens, and I'll explain that. But we'll get the backbone and we'll get some of the sirens off of the first one with no cost to the county.
So if we get the backbone in, they will all communicate with one another
Correct.
just fine without doing. what-
Correct,
Okay.
and I'll explain that real quick. So obviously we go by population. So the first sirens that'll go in will be the cities that apply those 9 sirens. So I figured out the 9 sirens at max cost, and also the backbone. And it comes out to just under about 10,000 of that grant that we have available right now. So that's perfect, because by the time we get installation and some other things, we'll be right around that amount. So we'll spend that total 379,000. Get the backbone, get the 3 digipeters, which are the things that help make everything connect and talk to each other. And then the 9 city sirens. That's my goal out of this one. So I basically was waiting to present today, and then tonight I have a 5 o'clock siren meeting. I'll present this to that group also as the option. And if so, we'll go ahead, sign paperwork, be ready to go. And then submit immediately a phase 2 hazard mitigation plan and wait for funding to become available.
Okay.
So that's my thoughts on that.
And we still may get some assistance from our utilities on setting.
We
these
may
goals
still get
also.
some of that, so there may be some dollars saved
Yeah.
there. Yeah, and there may be a little extra there, where maybe I'll get 1 siren or maybe 2 sirens in the county project. At this point, it would be no unincorporated sirens except for those digipeters. And then the backbone, all the software, the hardware that needs to be installed for the communication center.
Okay.
Setting it up, and then those 9 sirens comes up to almost exactly that amount that we need to be at.
So we don't need to take any action today.
Nope,
because
I'll
this
have
was in
some-
our options. last
Correct,
week
and I'll have
anyway.
some paperwork to sign here in the next couple of days, and we'll push forward with that project. It's promising, it sounds good, and actually in the long run probably will be great for us. It's just waiting a little longer for those other unincorporated sirens, so
All good things come to those that wait.
hopefully.
Okay.
Thanks for hearing me out.
Further comments or questions on that?
Uh,
We've worked hard on it.
Kim and I met with Alliant yesterday, and we had good discussions then.
Okay.
They were taking info back to their people that they
Yes.
needed to,
Okay.
and find out we gave them like 5 questions that we had, and they went back, and same with consumer, they were going back. Had you heard back from consumers? Yeah, so just, and I know we had a lot of gray area too, because we weren't sure where our project was going, so we can go back to them now and say, here's where we are for phase 1. And so what answers do you have for us on these?
Hopefully we'll get some good answers.
Hopefully some good answers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Item 13 on our agenda has been tabled. We're going to leave it there. Okay. Moving on to item number 14 on our agenda this morning is public forum. This is a time set aside for public to make comments on topics of county business other than those listed on this agenda. No action will be taken on any of these topics brought up in public forum. Dan?
I was just telling James, I don't think I have anything, but I do. I want to remind everyone that absentee voting has started at the election center, the old fire station, and will be there through Monday, June 6th. So just a reminder to get out and vote, or plan on voting on election day, June 7th.
Anything else for the good of the order? Oh, okay, there being none, we're gonna move on to adjournment. The next regular session is June 7th, I'm sorry, was there anybody on Zoom that had anything for public comment? Okay. Moving on, the next regular session is June 7th, 2022 at 9:05 a.m. All business to be acted upon at that session should be submitted to the county auditor and recorder's office or the board of supervisors office by Wednesday, June 1st, 2022 at 12 p.m. There being no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned at 9:33 a.m.
And a reminder, we will be back at the sheriff's office at this location for that meeting.
One more meeting.
One more meeting.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out here. This worked out well. It's a beautiful facility.